partner can live with you if you're like that. You agree? Right? So we all make mistakes once in a while. Sometimes we forget, sometimes we have other reasons. Sometimes we come late for certain things. You don't always have to correct people when it happens by certain accident or certain circumstances. But when it becomes habitual, then we should correct the persons. Alright? We should correct the persons. When it may create scandal. Right? So the reason that our community tries to correct that new couple is because it may create scandal. It may make other people fall. Okay? So that's the time we should correct. How should we correct it? So before you correct others, always start your prayer. Pray, bring it into prayer. Right? Talk to God. Is this just about me being annoyed, or it's really something that I do this out of love? Okay? Examine yourself. Bring it into prayer. Ask God. Check your emotions. You don't just immediately when you're upset or you are hurt, then suddenly talk back and correct it. It's not fraternal corrections. It's defense mechanism. Your defense mechanism. It does not help the other person. It just does not bring good to the other person. You may hurt the other person may hurt you again, then you may hurt the other person may hurt you again, and it becomes built up. Right? And if you can, try to speak to someone who is more mature, your spiritual director, or maybe the leader of your community. So that you just get a second person perspective. Should I correct this person? Is the thing that we should talk to the person. Sometimes it's good to talk to the leader of the community because maybe the leader knows the bigger picture. Maybe other person have already corrected him. And the leader can say, you don't need to correct him. Someone else already talked to him. So that the person also not being overwhelmed. Not everyone is talking to me. So it's always good to talk to someone else. Yeah? And when you talk, you don't have to give details like the address of the person, or sometimes you can just talk in general. You don't have to reveal if it is confidential because you don't want to spread the weaknesses of other people also. You don't talk to everyone. You just talk to one person. Either your SD or maybe your leader. And you should plan how to give corrections. Right? I think many of us, we don't plan how we should give corrections. When I tried to talk with my wife, I planned it many hours before. Right? I tried to plan in such a way that it is comfortable for her to listen. Because when she's not comfortable, she will not listen. Simple. If you want to be heard, you want to make sure that they listen. Right? So plan it. How you can do it with love? How you can do it with charity? Check your words. Can it be hurting? Plan it. Right? And when you correct it, do it in private if possible. You don't have to bring the whole, and that's what Jesus is saying in Matthew. Just talk to the person in private. Unless it may involve, it may affect the whole community, or it may affect other people. Sometimes you may have to bring other people, and that's what also Jesus was saying. But if you can, try to talk in private. Try to create an atmosphere that is comfortable and fraternal. Right? You don't make it nice. Make the person comfortable. This is you don't have message, Toby, I would like to give fraternal correction to you. Then the whole situation is already not comfortable. Just come and have a chat, or maybe during the walk or whatever that is, something that is friendly, something that is comfortable. When the person can open up better, right? Speak with charity, right? Do it with love. Remind yourself that I do this because of love. Check your words. Make sure it does not hurt. and focus on the facts rather than the persons. So you can say, you know, that night you say these words to me and I feel hurt. Okay? So you don't have to accuse whether whatever it is, you can tell like the fact is that I'm hurt. And it was not the first time or whatever it is, but you don't have to elaborate all these kind of things. Right? Just, you don't want to like make the person just like feel guilty. Sometimes we are like that, you know. I want to make sure that he knows he's wrong. Or like, he's hurting me. It's not about that. It's not about that. You just want to remind him, you know, certain words can be hurtful. And I felt hurt at that time. That's it. Right? So you don't have to attack the person. You don't have to attack the person. After the correction, pray for the person. If you really care about the person, you still pray for the person. It's not like, finally I managed to say it. I get even. No, it's not about getting even. It's not about I don't want to repress my feeling. It's not about that. Fraternal correction is not about not being aggressive. Right? Because we care for the person. So we continue to pray for the person. And we have to be patient with the person. Don't expect the person suddenly change. If it is something that's habitual, I tell you it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. So you have to be patient. You have to be patient with it. And the other thing, respect the person's freedom. In the sense that the person may choose not to listen to your correction. You have to respect him. Give him the freedom. And that's what we did with that new couple. We corrected them, but we give them the freedom. And we still embrace them still. You don't get offended when they don't listen to you. Right? Respect the person's freedom. Because God even respects your freedom to reject. And who are we to be greater than God? How we should receive correction? Do not be defensive. We all have our defense mechanisms. And there's something actually is worth thinking about. What is our defense mechanism? For me, my defense mechanism is here. I started to have these all conversations in my mind, you know, justifying my ex, all this kind of stuff. I used to talk back in justifying myself. When I realized it, I tried to stop. If I cannot say something good, I will not say anything. We have to be aware of our defense mechanism so that we are not being defensive. Right? Bring it in your prayer. I know it is hard when it's being corrected, but you can bring it up to prayer. Lord Jesus, is this what you want me to change? Have we ever asked that from God? What do you want me to change? What do you want me to be? If you speak to my brother this morning, what is it that you want to change in my life? If you really believe that God is present in the Holy Spirit, and He speaks through the Holy Spirit, you'll ask God, what are you saying? What are you saying? And you should thank God for humbling us. So one of the saints says, you know, it's not humility when you humble yourself. It's humility when you let others humble you. It's easy to humble yourself. You know? Sometimes we do it because of pride. I know it sounds contradictory, right? But it happened. How do I know it happened? Because it happened to me. Right? But when other people humble you, that's your opportunity to be humble. It's your opportunity to be humble. And after that, make a resolution. Right? Make a resolution. Say, Lord, I will try. This. And make it concrete. When you make a resolution, make it as concrete as possible. One thing that I try to say, I'll try to hold my tongue. Rather than I speak something that's hurting other people. And then make it into your particular examination. Every day you think, what did I say today? Did I say something hurting to my children? Or did I say something hurting to my sister or to my brother? Do it in your examinations. So there was a time that in our community, when Amos started, there was one core team who don't come to the prayer meeting regularly. And he's a core team. So the leader and I, we decided that we have to say something about this because it's scandalous. If the core team can be like that, it's not being faithful. Everyone doesn't have to be faithful, right? It's not making a good example for the whole. So what happened is that he come to several prayer meetings, and when it happened during our prayer meeting, then he doesn't come to our prayer meeting, he come to other prayer meeting. So there was a time that we decided to talk to the person, and it was not easy. The person become defensive. You know? He says, "Why do you have to tell me where I should go? It's my choice." And so we tried to explain it. You know, you're a core team. One of your roles is to be shepherd to your flock, to your community members. If you don't come to the community, you cannot care for your community members. Your priority should be in this community. We don't mind you come to other prayer meeting when it does not conflict to the community. But you cannot just do whatever you want. Life is not that whatever you want. And he really couldn't take it. Until to the point that we asked him to go leave the core team. It was hard because the core team was low. And when the person left the core team, it means someone else will take care of what he's doing. Alright? But we have to do it. And there was a time that, he even emailed me, and then I tried to reply, and then he emailed me with red words, capital letter, all these kind of things. It was a difficult person. Alright? Up to a certain point, I realized I've done my part. Alright, I've done my part. I decided not to reply the last email. I delete it. I go to the trash bin. I delete it. Because I chose not to look again in the future. And there was a time also in my prayer, I realized that God wants me to be reconciled with Him. So we meet again. It was really difficult because I felt I was right. But I knew God wants me to talk to Him. So at the end of the day, I decided, okay, I will do it. So I messaged him, so we had a time to talk. So he never come back into the core team. He never come back into the community again. But I make a commitment to always keep in touch with him. So when he is no longer in Singapore, I still message him once in a while. So in fact, on his wedding, he actually invited me. It was really hard to correct someone, right? And sometimes you are afraid, very afraid. But if we do it because we love the person, if we do it because we love God, there is always hope. And He can heal things. He can heal things. Right? There was another time in our community, one couple planned to get married, and they decided not to get married in church. Just wanted to get a civil wedding. So somehow, I think God is stirring several people in the community. So somehow, there was a time that I was in some people's house, and always I felt this is not right. We just have to talk to the person. And then the next day, when we have a gathering, informal gathering with one of the members in the community, he said first, right? So, no, we have to talk to this person. And so I felt that, okay, I think this is what God wants us to do as a community. So we talked to the person. But before we talk to them, we plan how we talk to the person. And so we said to the person, it's not right that, you're a Christian, you're a Catholic, and you're going to stay together, live together as husband and wife, but you are not married in the church. So what our community is going to do is that, because we know what is the issue, we talk to them and all this kind of thing. One of the issues is finance. So what our community did at that time is that we will fund your church wedding. We'll fund your church wedding. And it was a generous contribution. It was a simple wedding. Some contribute money. Those who don't have money, they contribute just by cooking the food and all these kind of things. It was one of the most beautiful weddings. No, it's not my wedding. Because you felt the sense of the community. Someone just become like the wedding planner, they just do it. But what impresses me a lot with that couple is that they say yes. It's a humbling thing to do to let other people fund your wedding. I don't think many people want to do that. But they say yes. And they listen to the community. Why God put us in a community? I think because if we are on our own, we will get lost. If we are on our own, we are happy enough that nobody should correct us. And it is hard to be in a community, to be frank. I mean, I've lived my life in a community. I joined community. I started some of the communities together with other people. And sometimes it is hard. But God wants us to be holy. And there is a danger that we become like a dying branches. When each member stopped desiring holiness, and we started passing on that fire, it started to dry up. We started not bothering with one another. But that's not God's plan for us. God's plan for us is to be burned with His love. God's plan for us is that so every member love one another. God's plan for us so that we want to be godly. We want to be perfected. We want to be holy. God wants you to find happiness in being holy. And I can tell you that, it's hard for me when I'm being corrected. But I'm not going to look back. I'm not going to leave my path. I'm not going to choose another path where I would wish to be. Because I'm happy. And I realize the closer I am to God, the happier I am. And I realize I owe it to my community. And because I owe it, I also realize it's my responsibility to also pass it on to others. To love others. They deserve to be loved by me. They deserve to be. I'll close with a prayer. Just be in the presence of God. Lord, we want to offer up our heart again to you. if this heart has been hardened, we pray today that we will soften our heart. We give you the permission to break it apart so that you can mold it again. For the time that we refuse to hear to your voice, we ask for your pardon and forgiveness. For the time that we fail to love others, we ask for your forgiveness. Father, teach us to love, because we do not know how to. Teach us to desire the good of other people. Because sometimes we don't see other people, we only see our life and ourselves. And our life is just not satisfying in being selfish. It is just not fulfilled. Sometimes we are sick. Teach us to be generous. Teach us to live not for ourselves, but for others. Teach us to live the life that you promise us to. You who are the one who creates us. You know what is best for us. Want to trust in your goodness. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Father, sorry, I think I exit my time.
You want to go for the
There is some question actually. I mean, if possible, maybe you can choose one or two questions.
You all okay?
Okay.
What's the question?
Can read it out. So the first one is, what should we do when we disagree with the correction from others?
What should we do when we disagree with the correction of others? Alright? So, this is how I would do. Okay? I will not reply the person during that correction. Okay? I will not, even though at that moment I disagree. And to be fair, I always disagree when someone will correct me. So I will not reply and talk back. What I will do is I will bring it into prayer. Okay? I will bring it into prayer, and I really try to examine. We really should examine ourselves, and that's the whole purpose of bringing it into prayer. And if we realize it's actually a genuine thing that we can improve, yeah, I mean, why not? If it is actually not a mistake on your part, you have two choices, right? If the person is troubled by you or by the actions, you can tell the person. Okay? Or you can just leave it. It's okay to leave it back for me. Okay? So there was a time that I attended a retreat where they wear formal jacket when they go for mass, right? In that retreat. And then somehow I found out that, so they will assign people to help one another, and in one of the things that they assign is to serve the mass. And I was shocked that my name is there to serve the mass. I never helped in serving the mass. I never be an altar boy, so it was really frightening. But what happened was, I knew that the people are wearing jacket, and someone already told me about them. And so I already prepared it. But when I go, I forgot. I left it. So during that mass, I just wear my long sleeves or this kind of thing. I serve the mass. Right? So on the way to Singapore, the same person who reminded me on wearing the jacket reminded me again. So I told him, yeah, I will do it next time. I think it's not a sin because I genuinely forgot. I already prepared it. I already tried to put all these kind of things. my mistake, I think, is forgetting. So I just leave it. And one way that if you really think that you disagree, one way is to check with someone else. Yeah, because we always think that we are right. So one thing that you may want to do is to have, that's why it's important to have a spiritual director or someone who's more mature who can help to mentor you and all these kind of things. Because you can talk with the person. You know, the person correct me, but my fault is like this, what should I do? And if the person really knows you, he can help and objectively say, you know, well, it's not really your fault, and he can give you some advice on these kind of things. Right? Yeah.
Second one.
What if I try to correct the person, but the person also tries to correct me? Basically, we get each other action as not aligned with God. So you should thank God that you love one another, right? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Okay, so remember that you don't want to do it correcting one another on the spot, right? So my approach will be, if I'm the person who's being corrected, I'm not going to correct the other person at that time. Because to be frank, if I do it on that time, it could just be my defense mechanism, right? If I want to correct the other person, and maybe it's the person who just corrected me, if I just being corrected, one way I could do, I will postpone it until I'm more, not biased in a sense. Or I can ask someone else to help me to correct. It doesn't always have to be you. Right? If you are for example, you are in the ministry, one of the person maybe should be corrected, you can talk to the leader of the ministry and let the leader do it. You don't have to do it. Because if you are the one doing it, I mean, like, they may not be listening better. Yeah? So what I'm saying is that there are many ways on how giving corrections. Doesn't always have to be you who are saying it. If you think that by you saying it doesn't help the person to listen and change, maybe you should not do it. Maybe you should through other person who can, the person may hear that person better. Remember, the aim is for that person, for the good of that person. When we want to correct other person one-to-one, but she or he bring others who are not neutral and also have the same mistake, how should we handle it? So, make it one-to-one. I mean, like, just tell, you don't have to correct it at that moment. Right? So, just go along. Remember that when you want to correct someone, you want to create a comfortable atmosphere. You don't tell the person, I want to correct you, then the person knows, then they will bring other people. No, it's friendship. Just ask for, can I meet with you privately for a coffee? Or, I don't know, if you don't drink coffee, maybe, can I meet for Milo? Or whatever that is. Right? Then, just have a chat, or maybe when you go for dinner or whatever that is, make it comfortable. Yeah? So you can arrange in such a way that they won't bring other people.
But how if after we say that the other party still bring other people and we already come?
Yes, so you don't have to do it on that spot.
So what are we doing then?
We can rearrange
During
it.
the meetup, the chit chatting.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. If you think that it's important to be in private, then you should aim to be in private. Unless you think that it does not matter to be in private. Yeah. Sorry? Yeah, so sometimes I think we felt the urgency to correct other people. We have a lifetime to correct other people. Yeah? God is patient with us. Okay, His patience to correct me. I think we can be patient to correct other people. How to correct someone who are looked up to or more senior or more knowledgeable than us. So Thomas Aquinas talk about this. Should you correct your prelate? That's what he's saying. Someone who is above you, right? No, he's not talking about who is more senior or knowledgeable. just because the person is senior doesn't mean that they are above you. When someone's going to talk above you, it's like your leader or your parents or your bishop, those kind of things. Okay? So in that case, you still have to correct someone who's above you if it creates public scandal or this kind of things. Right? And that's what I think some people are trying to clarify with certain teaching of the bishops, or maybe even for the Pope, if they felt that the Pope is not clear enough. Right? It's out of love. If it is your peers, if it is fraternal corrections, then I don't think there's any issue of correcting someone who is more knowledgeable than you. It's not about knowledge. Correction is about love. I mean, someone can be very knowledgeable, but they may have imperfections. Everybody has imperfections. Yeah? So there's no issues with. So remember that the thing is that we have to create a culture where everyone in your community should have this desire. No, I want to be corrected. Even if they are more senior than you in terms of spiritual life, they are more willing to be corrected. If they are not more willing to be corrected, they are not more senior than you. They are not more mature than you. So you should correct them. Okay? Now when you correct them, if they are older than you, all this kind of thing, of course you have to respect them in certain way that may be different if it is like your peers, or maybe someone is younger than you. So rule of charity still applies. Respect still has to apply. You don't like scold people, right? I mean, we don't scold people when you give fraternal correction, more especially when someone is older than us. People say don't hang out with people who are in certain sins, so we don't get dragged down and be tempted to try to do so. Is it bad if I don't correct because of this? What is that? Is it bad if I don't correct? Is it bad if I don't hang out, or is it bad if I hang out? Or what is the sense?
I mean, I don't want to hang out with these people. I mean, I don't want to correct, because if I'm correcting, I have to
I see.
journey with them.
I see.
I just don't want to, because
Is it bad if I don't correct because of this?
because I don't want to get dragged down and be tempted.
Well, okay, so one thing, yeah. So remember, the fraternal corrections is fraternal in the sense like it's because you are in the same community, you're in the same family, right? And so when you're doing fraternal corrections, and if someone really have like a bad habit, we all have the responsibility to correct the persons. Okay? If you don't want to hang up, it's your prudential judgment. It's okay. In the sense that you feel that if I hang out with these persons, then I will be committing the same sin. You should not do it. Alright? You should not do it. But if you think that, I won't fall into that sins, and this is something that you may want to talk with your spiritual director, because you can be very biased on this. Alright? And you felt the mission to reach out to them, then it is possible. So there's no one answer whether you should hang out or you should not hang out with someone who are committing sins. Right? We should always reach out to other people, but sometimes if we know that we can't handle it, we should not. Okay? So to be frank, I don't hang out with certain friends that go to camping or those kind of things for the very reasons, I just don't want to fall into that particular weaknesses or imperfections, right? But yeah, I guess your question is different. The question is it okay if I don't correct it, right? Is that your question? Right? So if it is in your community, I guess we have the responsibility. We have to correct it, but it doesn't have to be you. If you feel the need, I guess when you think about this, you felt the urge in the sense like, it has to be corrected, right? So if you feel that you are not the best person to correct it, you can talk with the leader or whoever it is, so that other people can correct it. But we cannot like close our eyes blind and say it's okay to sin. Yeah? Jesus died for our sins, and we have to help them to appreciate His great creation. Does that answer the question? Anything you want to ask further? I think you still have some questions in your
I'm
mind.
thinking about it, is I'm thinking about my colleagues who gossip.
Colleagues.
Yeah, if I hang out with this specific colleagues,
Yeah.
I think I will gossip also.
Oh. Okay.
So often I don't want to join their gossip chaos.
Yeah.
Instead of I have to like correct them, and this is not right. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. So as I mentioned to you, like I mean, I know I don't gossip, but I understand that I don't hang out with. I mean, if it happens to me, I may avoid some of the, for example, lunch meeting or whatever that is, simply because I don't want to be dragged into gossip. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Right? What if I'm in the conversations, right, and people are gossiping, those kind of things? That's really hard. And one thing that you can do is simply sometimes you just have to stand ground and divert the conversations. So maybe God put you there to help them not to gossip. Yeah. So I mean, like that's what I normally do. If someone started gossiping, then I'll try to talk about other people, not other people. You can divert the conversations, and actually you are helping them. You're actually stopping the gossip. Yeah. So and you may grow in virtue in making conversation with other people or to talk with other topics. It may help your career. Okay. Any other questions?
I think the other has been answered in your talk,
Okay.
so I think we should end
Okay.
here.
Okay. Thank you.